Hi, this is part 2 of my Ninja H2 rebuild, and in this part we'll have it totally complete and running. So no further ado, I'll get on with it and we'll go from there. It should be, this bike is over 300 horsepower before I've done the cams and any other work we have done. So because we put a rise and rate fuel pump in this time, we've had different profile cams put in, and we're going to put supercharger 4 gears in to see where that will take it to us. Whether the ECU will cope with that amount of boost, because it might dump it, I don't know, but we'll soon find out. We'll do some recording when we are on the track, and we will try to see what boost it will go up to, get a camera on it and see if it actually dumps it when it gets so much, or if it keeps going. So no further ado, I'll get on with that, and there we go. Hi, as you can see, she's almost back together now. A lot of it, the wiring, because there's a lot of additional wiring on this, and the pipe, the funnel layers for when I'm going to start topping up the coolant next. That's my next job. As I say, there's power commander 5, second fuel injection module and ignition module to fit on it. Then there's my electronic gear change with all the wiring for that. Then there's the camera, front and rear camera system. So there's a lot of additional wiring, and it's not exactly small stuff to go on. There's also a tracker on this as well. So, but there's not much space on these bikes, as you'll probably know. If you've got a H2O cooler, it makes it a lot worse for space, because you take up the space of the reservoir for the topping up the H2O cooler, and then you've got pipes that get in the way. So yeah, there's a lot that gets in the way on that. I've got a rise and rate fuel pump, and because of that as well, you can't particularly put anything down here on the base, because the gauge and the rise and rate bit sits lower than we have a sticky out gauge this way, and then this pipe connects to it for the rise and rate. Works off pressure, which means the higher the boost pressure goes, the more pressure it pushes on the fuel pump to be able to give it more fuel, increases the pressure rate. So and then obviously we have the extra brake line going to the rear for my thumb brake, and my thumb brake on the handlebars as well. So we do have a lot of additional extras for me to ride this bike, so it is a bit more difficult to fit everything in, wiring and everything else. So anyway, I'm going to get on with it, but I thought I'd show you what it is. All the back ends together now, including large number plate and so on, and that. Covered it up because I got another project going on with them painting. Painting from the rafters, not far away, you see there, dangling from the rafters. So I didn't want to get any paint on the carbon fibre and the back end of the bike. So there we go. I'll get back to you probably when it's pretty much done, and see how we get on with it, and let you know if there's any issues. I'm still waiting for parts, so it depends on when the parts come, depending on when I finish this video off. Hi all, I just thought I'd let you know where we are on the H2. Basically everything's bolted together, torqued up, engine is running, sounds quite sweet, a bit smoky at first, but that cleared. Obviously there was smoke off downpipes and everything else that got oil or grease or whatever on it. I'm just at the moment running it up and checking the coolant level, because since I topped it up, it doesn't seem to have gone down much. So whether they bled through quite quick, I don't know. And the H2O coolant side of it, which is under the tank, the reservoir and the pump, it took a bit of blowing to try and get it to flow round, but it went round it eventually, because seems to be an issue with that when you first fill it up and there's no fluid in the whole system. you have to really try and push it round by blowing as well as letting the pump run. The pump only runs once the lights have been activated. So while the ignition's on and it's not been started and the lights have not come on, because obviously the lights will come on only once it's been started or attempted to be started. So what I had to do is sort of pretend start it and let it run with the lights on for a bit. I did have it on a charge system at the same time and let the pump run round so I could blow. I used a piece of rubber pipe to try and blow it through, because coolant is not nice in your mouth. You can either use water or coolant in that, but I use basically coolant of what we've got on everything else. No warning lights on the dash except for ABS, because obviously the vehicle hasn't moved. As soon as it gets moving, that ABS light goes off, so that's a good sign. The only problem I've got is the front brake light's not working, and I've tried to test the wiring and it looks like it's not the switch. It might be something in the loom or something like that. So what I'm going to do is investigate that further next time out. But as I look around, I've put the actual mirrors on at the moment. Front camera is mounted there at the moment. Couldn't find anywhere better where to get a decent view. I don't particularly like it there, but at the moment it's going to stay there until I can try and figure out of a better place and a better idea of mounting the camera. It's not exactly tiny, but it's not exactly huge. Yeah, I put the mirrors on because it's going to be going for its MOT, and I'm not 100% sure how they would, because it's a different MOT than what I normally go to, whether they would appreciate the wings on and just a little screen for the rear view camera, for rear view. So I've put them on because it's no hardship putting them on. This side I've got all the panels on. Lower panels, upper panels, the crash bung on that side. Got a few scratches on the engine casings. I may well try and get some covers for them. And the advice on the best covers out there would be ideal. I've took the rear wheel off because I was bleeding the rear caliper and it was easier with it off. I'm still going to check that. Now, my thumb brake, the light will come on with the thumb brake, and it will come on, the brake light will come on with the front brake and with the foot brake. So that's working fine. All the lights seem to work, all the indicators work. I'd say we've got two sets on the front at the moment because I've got them on the end of the bars. Sorry for the wobble, I'm trying to walk around. End of the bars here, as well as on the mirrors at the moment. And the reason why I put them there is because I would have no indicators on the front if the mirrors were removed. So everything's looking fine. The rear exhaust can's not exactly tight. I did put the baffle in, which is on the floor now. It blew itself out when I went up to 10,000 RPM to test it. Supercharger sounds awesome. The wastegate sounds awesome. A lot quieter now. I've put a piped back into the tube, the supercharger tube. Reason for that is we have noise restrictions at our top speed events. That's why I have to run this exhaust and not like a Vandermonde, which is rated at 120 dB, when we have a restriction of 104 dB, which is a lot quieter. So this, when without the baffle in, last time we run it was 94 dB, and you have to test this at 4,500 RPM, 500 millimeters away, which is half a meter away at a 45-degree angle. That's how they test it, and they do have flyby, so there's no point trying to trick it, put a baffle in and try and take it out and then go on the track, because they will hear you as you're going along. They said last time I was out I was noisier than the other H2s. Couldn't understand why, because I had the same system on. After I got back home and I was trying to sort out the issue I had with a rattle off the oil pump chain, I found that one of my nuts on the exhaust have come off and the exhaust downpipe was loose. So that's where the noise was coming from. But anyway, here she is. She's looking good. Tomorrow or the next time we're working on it, I'll be checking the coolant. Oil level again, I just topped it up a little bit before this run. I've got another go bleeding that rear brake, try and find out what's going on with the front brake light switch, and pretty much start putting the panels on this side. And then I do have, which I'll do in a different video, I do have like an under tray type V-piece to go on this in carbon fibre, which is to try and help with slipstreaming. So we'll have to see how that fits and how well it mounts and whether there's any issues and any cutting needed, which I'm not afraid of doing any cutting on it. So here we go, she's looking good. I've had to order a couple of bolts. I've got one bolt missing on the supercharger pipe going into the airbox, so I've ordered that, one of the long ones. They are 5mm, not 6mm, so an M5, but they I haven't got anything in anything else at the moment, so there's probably a little slight leak from there, but that will be tightened up and put back on. All the others are on, so it's running, it's set up okay. Can't think of anything else at the moment. I do have the reason why I have a clear screen. A lot of you will be asking why do I have a pansy clear screen and not a smoke one. I did have a smoke one, but because I have a smoked or a sort of mirror visor on my helmet, we've got to run clear screens, and that's the reason. The reason why for that is somebody who had a dark visor, dark screen, ended up running off the end of the track. Didn't see the braking point, and he said, well, I couldn't see because it was too dark. So now if you have a clear visor, you can have a dark screen. If you have a dark visor, you got to have a clear screen. Now where the sun can be and it can glare, I'd rather have the dark visor, because obviously the dark visor goes with you wherever you put your head, and the screen is only fixed to the bike. So anyway, there we go. I think that's about it. Explained a few things and so on. So I will see you in the next part. As I say, I'll probably doing this all as one video, so I'll say next parts. Next time I'm on it, I will film a bit more. Right, here we go. This is the original front brake lever plug. Now that plugs into one in the loom. The one side on the loom is not making any power at all. So I've used the same connectors, and this was a factory done, this one with the shrink wrap and that. This is the wire I've made here. That's my feed where my middle finger's touching. That's the lead that's coming from the power source of the rear brake. I used both red wires because it didn't particularly matter which way around, but on the other side I've used the red and the black. Now what I've done is I've put a double connection in there, and that goes to the it's a brake pressure operated switch for the brake light. So that's gone to that, which that works. And then I've made this wire with the shrink wrap and the armour core. It's quite long. I haven't put the end on yet because I'm going to feed it through before I put the end on, because it might be easier to feed through like that. And that is going to go round to the other side where the front brake will be operated. So a little bit of a problem. Unless I have the bike fully stripped down, I probably won't find where the brake is. So the easier way to do it, especially because it's close for the MOT anyway now, is to do this. So I'm going to feed that through, put the connector on the other end, plug it in, test it all, show you that everything's working. Well, there you go, she's all back together, running good. Should start off the button if I put the key in, and the key, nothing up on the dash except for the ABS, and the fuel light will probably come up on it. Flashing up on the dash, a bit cold, and because the cams have been modified, she needs to be mapped as well because it's a bit fluttery. So once she warms up, she's normally alright. Let's see what temperature she's at now. She's not really at a good temperature yet. Now 49 degrees, that's pretty cold. Degrees C that is. Normally around about 60, 70 she starts getting a bit better. Getting better all the time. The next video, hopefully, I've got two. Next video, hopefully, I've got two jobs going to be doing on this particular bike. Obviously, there's going to be the dyno. Yeah, there's going to be the dyno. We need to map it and see what we get out of it. And we do independent cylinder mapping on this. We have an O2 bung in each downpipe, so we make sure that normally 2 and 3 can get quite lean on these bikes because they're on the inside and they generate more heat and evaporate more fuel. So we're going to do independent mapping. At the moment we've still got power commander on. Still got the USB leads, and we've got the wire there, easy access for doing any alterations to the ECU. We are going to increase the RPM. She's only set at 13,250 at the moment. We might go right up to 14, or we might go 13,750 first. But there's plenty of clearance. The engine builder was same between the pistons and the valves. Apparently, when we did a little bit of research, the valves are different from the H2R. So the cams are bigger, so I'm presuming that the valves are bigger, wider, to let more fuel and the thingy out. Whether they're any stronger. And the valve springs are apparently the same, so that's a good thing, because then we know that the valve springs are going to be quite strong. We haven't done anything major on this bike at all. All we've done is tweak the cams. We haven't changed anything like the valves. We haven't changed rods, pistons, anything like that, or the ball even. Everything is still pretty much stock except for supercharged gears, mapping, carbon fibre on it, as you see, aesthetic looks more than anything, and the full acaphobic exhaust. Now, a lot of you, especially in America, you don't have noise restrictions where you do your racing and that. We do. We have to get there by 104 dB. If you're over that, you're not racing, simple as. And they do have flyby as well, so we can't even trick it in neutral. You know, like in neutral, you can sort of tone it down a bit so it's not as noisy, but can't do that because you have flybys and they catch it on that. And then as soon as you come and speak to you first of all, if you don't correct the problem, then that's it, you're out. So, fortunately, I have to use a big exhaust on this. I suppose it helps with my eardrums. But then we will. I've got a 100 tray for it. Aftermarket one, which is going to need some extensive modification because of mine. One of the O2 bungs is definitely going to get in the way, you know, which are on the downpipes, as I was saying. So I might have to drill a big hole in the carbon fibre for that to sit in, otherwise it doesn't clear enough. And also we'll probably have to make brackets, spacers, because it looks like the front bolts to it will bolt to where the bottom radiator bolt is, which holds the side panel. But we are going to have to make a spacer between the side panel and the belly pan, because it doesn't go right the way up. So you could probably have to make a spacer probably about so big. And then what you might probably have to, instead of just having it like 6mm thick, then at the end you might have to have it a bit wider, you know, like a bit like a washer, like a top hat. So I'm going to make some of them on my lathe when I come to do that job. And at the back we're going to have to make some form of bracket so the rear ones will bolt up. We'll probably end up bolting it to somewhere along the engine casing and have the bracket come out to where we need it to bolt up on the carbon fibre under tray. So that is supposed to help with, I'm hoping, with slipstreaming at the top speed. We won't get all the drag on the exhaust like we do now, and that could gain us a few miles an hour or more. I don't know. Not done any testing, so we don't know what it's going to do, but it's worth a try. It'll just take probably a couple of days just to get everything sorted and figured out where we're going to be bolting everything and so on and that. But anyway, she's all done. She's ready for the dyno or an MOT or both or one or the other. So there's not a lot much I could do on there now. So I will get back to you with a dyno video. A friend of mine still trying to set up his business, so he's got the gear and that. He's just trying to negotiate premises, but because of this situation we're in at the moment, it's not easy talking to anyone because nobody wants to talk, you can't move or anything and so on and all that. But anyway, I'll speak to you again shortly. Have a good one, stay safe, and hopefully you like watching and hearing what we've been doing with this. I am an amputee, things are a lot harder for me. I use a hell of a lot more energy, and some days like yesterday I didn't even get out of bed because I was just in agony. So anyway, trying to just do these as a motivational thing and, you know, inspiration for other people who think they won't be able to do much and these type of sports and all that. But there we go. Probably be concentrating on my ZRX now. I've got quite a few things to do on that. So that's a turbo, ZRX 1100 turbo. But she's a bit of a mess TLC wise, so she needs a bit of sorting. Anyway, I'll speak to you shortly. Goodbye and thank you for watching.